as the state of Georgia, where there are Americans fighting for our freedom and trying to hold on to what we hold dear. And I know many of you, whether you're from occupied socialist states like California and New York, or if you're from freedom loving states like me, I know you are contending for American freedom and American values where you are. And so I salute you, fellow freedom loving Americans. Now, good morning, Danielle. Thank you for tuning in. Wow, I am angry. I am angry. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Biden announced Biden announced new guidelines. The CDC announced new guidelines, and this had been talked about for a while. Where they're like, we need new guidelines because we need a carrot for more people to be vaccinated. Like, why are they going to get vaccinated if they still have to mask? Why are they going to get vaccinated if they still have to do all of this stuff like they were unvaccinated? It's a good point. So instead of having common sense and saying, let's end the mask mandates completely, we don't need them anymore, because even if masks worked, we have about 40% of Americans are fully vaccinated, I think, at this point. You know, I mean, and another percentage are children who don't spread the disease anyway. So we pretty much have over 50%. I mean, we're almost at herd immunity. And, you know, the spread, what's happening, if you look at the hospitalizations and the death rates of COVID, they're way down. Because, one, we know how to treat COVID now. Secondly, less people are being hospitalized and such because it's not the old people who are getting sick now. It's younger people who are able to get over it really quickly at home. It's asymptomatic people, etc. Those are the people getting sick. Now, what Biden did, and I'm going to post this video later, he said, you know, either you get vaccinated or you mask until you do. That sounds like a threat. That's an ultimatum. You either get vaccinated or you mask until you do. Now, the problem that we've had up to this point is, you see, a lot of governors have lifted the mask mandates, which is good. Like here in Georgia, lifted the mask mandate. The problem is most corporations are still going by the CDC guidelines because they're afraid of liability. So nationwide corporations like Trader Joe's, for example, or my employer, which is a major bank, is still requiring everyone to be vaccinated. Thank you for the super heart there, by the way. And my employer gave us the talking point. If someone comes in and is unmasked, we're not supposed to tell them that we require them, and we're not supposed to tell them that it's our policy. Our talking point is we're asking all of our employees and customers to mask in light of CDC. We are following CDC guidelines, and so we are asking our customers to mask in order to protect our customers and our employees. That's what we're supposed to say. That's the talking point. That's the corporate talking point. And I was actually told that, you know, we don't require, and I go, wait a minute, I thought we did. Like, so are you saying that we don't require? So, like, if they don't want to be masked, that they could just come right in if they refuse to be masked? Oh, no. If they don't want to mask up, you have to offer them alternatives. Alternative ways we can service them, like online banking and phone bank and the drive-through teller. I'm like, so it is. So we are requiring our customers to be masked. It's not optional. Yes, but don't tell them that you're requiring them. You're not supposed to say we are requiring. Okay. This is all bobbledygook. So now the CDC guidelines, because all these corporations are following CDC guidelines. So now, what are they going to do? Is it going to be like vaccine passports? The thing is, those are outlawed in certain states where they can't ask for them. Also, are they going to make me as an employee? Are they going to say, hey, if you're not vaccinated, you have to wear a mask? That's branding me. That's me. That's creating two tiers of Americans. One gets to reclaim their freedom. The other are held in bondage and get to wear something that's unhealthy for us, that's a health hazard, and publicly humiliates us and opens us up for harassment because it brands us as non-vaccinated. That's troublesome. That's very troublesome, to say the least. So customers are going, so under this policy, this is what I'm expecting. This all came down. The CDC issued their stuff yesterday. Of course, corporations, they take a little bit of time to respond. So I don't expect to get any communication until today. I'll keep you updated. Maybe not even until Monday for them to change their policy. Because, it has to go through so much red tape, because I'm sure there's meetings right now with HR, our risk department, our health advisors going, how do we respond to this? Because what's to stop me from just lying and saying I'm vaccinated? Now, it's interesting. I was talking to my sister, and she said she has a friend who, when she's asked about vaccines, because she's kind of an anti-vaxxer, and when she's asked about the vaccination status of herself or her children, just like over the last years, she goes, oh, I have all the vaccines I need. I love that line. I mean, I'm going to start refusing to wear the mask every store I go into, which I already have. I don't wear the mask until I'm told to. So the only place I wear the mask is Trader Joe's, because they're like the Gestapo over there, and Costco. But now I'm just going to go in, because they've been trumpeting the fact and being all holier than thou that they're following the CDC guidelines. So I'm just going to go in, and when they go, oh, you don't have a mask, oh, I'm exempt. Well, why are you exempt? I don't need to explain why, but according to government guidelines, I'm exempt. That's what I'm just going to tell them. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good question. What about those who've had COVID immunity? You see, the Israeli immunity passport allowed for both. If you had had the disease before and had the antibodies, you could also get the green passport, not just if you're vaccinated. So, if my employer tries to create two tiers of people, I refuse to comply. I refuse. I will be unmasked. And I know there's multiple other staff people at my office who are not going to get vaccinated. And I'm going to encourage them not to wear the mask. Because, so basically my employer has two choices. Well, three choices, but one of them is going to turn really bad for them. One, they follow the CDC guidelines, and they create two tiers of employees, and they require us to publicly out ourselves that we are non-vaccinated. Secondly, the other option they have is continue to require all employees to be masked, or they remove the mask mandate completely. Now, them being a bank and them being risk averse, I don't expect them to remove the mask mandate completely. It would be the smartest way of doing it. Smartest way. That'd be the smartest decision. Because if they continue to require masking, anyway, just lift it completely. Because they will get people angry at them if they require everyone to be masked. And because there'll be the people who are like, hey, I got vaccinated for nothing and you're still making me wear a mask 8 hours a day. Like CDC says I don't have to mask. So they can't, and all this time my employer with these other corporations have been all saying, oh, we're following the CDC guidelines. They're following the CDC guidelines. So they would actually be going more extreme than the CDC guidelines if they required everyone to be masked. If they unmasked everyone and made it optional, if they removed the mandate, it would, and then someone got sick from, the unvaxxed employee, unvaxxed employee, they could expose themselves to legal litigation. That's why, if our government was actually smart, they would have passed liability protection for corporations like the National Federation of Independent Business was lobbying for. But did they do that? No. Now, the third option would be, so basically they either third option is they create 2 tiers of employees. Now, if they do that, I'm going to fight like hell because they can't out me. They're making me wear my medical status, my religious status, because I'm not vaccinated for multiple reasons. One, there's the bioethical concerns. 2, I'm not going to take an unproven vaccine that we don't know what the long-term effects of it are for a disease that has a 99.9% recovery rate for someone like me. 3, I actually have a medical history that says I shouldn't be vaccinated. Certain people with certain conditions, certain people with certain family histories have been informed by the FDA, the CDC, and the drug companies not to get this vaccine. So there's 3 reasons why I'm not going to be vaccinated. So I'm going to create a revolution. And if businesses try to you need to show your papers, that's Nazis. That's what they did to the Jews. And when people say, you can't compare the two, it's anti-Semitic to compare it to the Holocaust. Okay, I get it. Being forced to wear masks is not the same as the Holocaust. I get that. I have family who went through the Holocaust. I have family, went through, grew up underneath the Nazi regime. Now, she wasn't Jewish, but they were persecuted by the Nazis. It started with taking away people's freedom. It started with putting the yellow star and branding the Jews. Why? Because the Jews are undesirables that people needed to be cautious about. Because the Jews spread disease. That was one of the propagandas. So people wanted to stay away from the Jews. The Jews were enemies of the German Republic. That was another one of the slanders. That sounds familiar, right? They're saying the same thing about about us patriots, us freedom-loving Americans. We're domestic terrorists. They're saying the same thing. Where do you draw the line? When do we say enough is enough? Oh, and did I mention the fetal stem cell thing? That's another reason why I'm not getting vaccinated. So there's, bioethical concerns, there's personal medical history, and there's unproven vaccine. Risk versus benefit. So I'm not going to get vaccinated, and I'm not going to allow them to wear a public symbol branding me and outing my medical background. What else? Am I going to have to wear an armband saying I have hemorrhoids? I mean, on my face, I'm supposed to wear some muzzle. So I'm deciding how I'm going to protest if I'm still forced to wear the mask. See, like on the airplanes, I'll wear, if I go and fly, I'll wear a mask because everyone's being required to wear a mask. That bothers me less. Okay? Now, it really bothers me that most of the airlines are not doing medical exemptions, and it bothers me that children are being masked up. And, anyway, that's a whole nother topic. I think it's terrible. I don't agree with it. But, hey, they're not creating two tiers of people in that. I mean, you can argue that people who have trouble wearing a mask, who aren't able to wear a mask for 3-5 hours, are, having to look at alternative modes of transportation. My family's being faced with that. We're going out to California in July, and we're going to fly, but we're, like, really nervous about, because, like, we've never masked my 3-year-old. So, I mean, we're now talking about driving out there. So, what I'm going to do in any business that goes, because Trader Joe's will probably do something. Because Trader Joe's here is so Gestapo-like. I mean, Trader Joe's used to be a fun place to shop. Like, you would roam the store, and people would come up to you, the employees. Oh, are you finding everything you like? Oh, I really like that product. I like to use that and serve it with blah, blah, blah. It was awesome. It was fun. Now they're like, oh, your mask is slipping off your nose. Pull it back up. They, like, roam around as, like, the mask police. So if they do this and they go, oh, are you vaccinated? Like, I just walk in without a mask. Are you vaccinated? I'm exempt. Yeah, I don't need a mask. Well, why not? I don't need to explain that. I don't need to tell you. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. And my work, if my employer tries to create two tiers, I'm going to fight like hell. Because we have to fight for our freedom. Because the next thing they'll do is ask for proof. So I refuse to be treated like a lesser employee because of my religious convictions and because of my health conditions. Already, I've had to suffer for a year with wearing a mask that damages my health. Already. So, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll keep all of you posted. I agree, Butterfly Wings. Time to make a stand now. This is our stand. This is our do or die moment, really. Because we have to fight now, because if we don't fight now, we're going to have vaccine passports. Orange County, California tried to institute a vaccine passport program. Thousands of patriots showed up in protest. It was awesome. It was so awesome. So we're going to see more of those kind of protests. Certain states are banning them. If you need to pressure your legislature to ban the use of them. And Danielle, I agree. We are leaning towards driving. It just comes down to getting the enough time off work, because yeah. But that's what we're leaning towards. So anyway, God bless all of you. Please follow me on all of the networks. For me taking these stands on social media, they're trying to ban me. So please follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Parler, and here on Haps as well. God bless all of you, and may God bless the United States of America.